Hey everybody, what's up? Terrence here, doing another video blog, because if you don't know, today is officially March 4th, had to double check on that, and Emerald City Comic Con 2018 has finally come to a close. It started 4 days ago on Thursday, and today was the last day. I was able to go on Saturday and Sunday, and as you know, for the past couple of years I have made a video after every Comic-Con showing you guys what I spent my money on. So, of course, being another Comic-Con, and of course me getting into comics a bit more, I have definitely spent a lot of money, which I will not disclose here, but it was definitely a lot of money on geek goods and objects and material things that don't really matter in the long run. And I will share them with you, just because I want to show you guys everything that I pulled. If you've watched my videos in the past, you've known that a lot of the things that I picked up were wall art, prints, things like that. Surprisingly, this year I didn't find a lot of those. I'm not sure if I've just exhausted myself from buying those. I have a lot more wall space I can work with, so I feel like I should have more prints. But this year I didn't feel like a lot of the prints grabbed me, so I still bought a couple prints, but at the same time, a lot of the things I bought weren't wall art, for once, right? Believe it or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through everything that I bought. I'm just going to grab down or reach down here, grab what I bought, and share what I have with you. So we're just going to go ahead and come down here, pick up the first one, which is this book here. Wow, I am not fond of this camera. This is I Can't Help You Here. It is a comic series by Ryan Somer and Lar D. Souza. And this was because my homegirl Tammy has been taking pictures with these two like every year at Comic-Con for the past 3 or 4 years. So she went to go talk to them. And they had a deal at their booth where if you buy 2 books, you got one free. Since I didn't know anything about this webcomic, she bought 2 books, and because I was with her, they were like, hey man, you should totally let him choose out the free one and give it to him. So I have this book, and I'll probably read over it. It's a thick book. A lot of comics to go through. I'm assuming this is a webcomic, a collective webcomic. I feel like I can probably read the back of this to find out what's going on, but, you know, we'll go through. I read through a couple of them while I was sitting there waiting while they were chatting. And it seemed like there was some cool, funny things there, especially tailored to older people, you know, people going through some adult problems. So I might actually like reading through that. And we'll just keep going through here. Oh, yep, this is good. So, if you guys remember last year, I bought Mouse Guard by David Peterson. I bought Winter 1152. That's actually the second one in the series. So, I went back this year and got the first one, Fall 1152. I bought this one on Saturday before it sold out. Last year, I went there on Sunday, and they were all sold out, even though they had the tons on Saturday. So I think they sold out, like, that Saturday. So I picked up this first one, and I actually read through it yesterday. And I really like it. It's just a good, I don't know, a good different kind of story, different approach to comics and graphic novels that you don't normally see. And this kind of makes me... It harkens back to when I was reading Redwall back in the day by Brian Jakes. Kind of brought me back to that sort of nostalgia factor, mice in medieval times and swords and dope-ass warriors. So this kind of was really cool for me, and I read through it and I really like it. So I'm excited to pull out Winter 1152 out of my box of storage there and start reading it, because now I can finally know what the characters are and what's going on. And we'll just keep going here, trying to stay in frame so you all can see me. Yep, okay, good. Moving on to the comics, the actual comics now. This is a DC Super Sons. I grabbed the trade paperback of Volume 1 because that was probably one of my favorite arcs in DC Rebirth so far. The writing is so good in Super Sons. Like, it's so clever and so funny. The dynamic between Damian and John is so good, and their banter is so good and so well written in Super Sons. It's like the clever TV shows that you see on TV, like the banter you wish you had with your friends but you don't. And it's just some really innocent, kind of fun sort of comics, I guess you could say. Just fun. This is just a really fun series to read. It was a fun series to read, and I love the first arc. The second arc, following the second arc, it wasn't, you know, it didn't pull me, and I didn't enjoy it as much. But this first arc in Super Sons was really good. So I'm so glad that they had this trade paperback there. This is actually one of the ones that I've wanted to buy for a long time, and I haven't visited any of the comic shops recently for it because, you know, by the time I get off of work, they're all closed. But I was hoping that I can find this. I was hoping I was going to be able to find this at Comic-Con, and I looked so many places for the Super Sons Volume 1, and I couldn't find it. And luckily, just didn't stop walking through. Looked at all the trades that all the comic booths had, and I was able to pick it up. So I'm so glad that I have this. I'm probably going to reread this tonight because I freaking love the Super Sons. Super Sons is really fun. I'm actually going to click a bit so I can see myself here a little bit more. Yeah, so I can see what I'm displaying. Look at that. I'm getting better. And the back. Look at the back. That's so dope too. That's just really cool. All right. Moving on. Let's see what we reached down and grabbed. Another trade paperback, it feels like. Yep, good. Alright, so this is actually the New 52 All-Star Western. This is a Jonah Hex, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this is Jonah Hex. I read through All-Star Western. I didn't know what to expect when I was reading or starting this, but All-Star Western ended up being one of my favorite New 52 series. You get Jonah Hex in here and Tallulah Black, and their adventures, and this is just like a really cool series that ties into New 52 really well because it goes into like the origin or like the history of the Court of Owls, which if you've read New 52 Batman, that was a really big story arc for Batman New 52. So this kind of ties that in, but also is like a hero that you don't normally hear about. Of course, Jonah Hex has had a series or a movie already in the past, but to actually see Jonah Hex in all his splendor and the way he is, like a really gritty kind of badass, doesn't give a fuck about what people say kind of hero. And again, like the whole concept of a hero and an anti-hero, things like that, like Jonah Hex is kind of in the middle of that. So really cool comic that I found Volume 1, which I'm so happy that I found Volume 1. But that means now I have to find like Volume 2 and 3. And I forgot how far I went and how much I liked the later volumes. But I know I really liked Volume 1, so I'm so glad that I was able to find this. This is the same spot that I found the trade paperback for Super Sons. So they had some really good ones there, of course, clearly, or else I wouldn't have bought it. And we'll just come down and grab this next one here. I have to look down. Okay, we're going through the books first. The Kinokuniya bookstore, the one that's attached to Wajimaya. I could buy this technically at any point, but you know, you're in a Comic-Con, you're in a spending mood. I don't know if you guys know, but I am in love with Makoto Shinkai. He's my favorite director when it comes to like the Japanese anime movies. One of the reasons why I love Makoto Shinkai is because his movies, 5 centimeters per second, and Your Name, they have fantastic skyboxes. And this book is literally called A Sky Longing for Memories, and it's the art of Makoto Shinkai. That's one of his strong points. That's one of the things that he's known for. So this book is literally kind of going through, and I gotta open up just a random page, and like going through the amazing backgrounds that Shinkai has made. And again, I could have bought this at any time. I could have bought this like not at Comic-Con. But man, you know, you're in the spending mood, so I saw this at the Kinokuniya bookstore and I had to buy it. And look at all this stuff. Like, look at those skyboxes. Those are freaking amazing. Man, so good digital art. And just, I went through this Saturday night when I was hanging out with my friends at their hotel, and man, I'm so glad that I bought that. I can just go through that over and over and over just looking at the skies, you know what I mean? So, have that. Shinkai is one of my favorite directors, and you can quote me on that. Alright, we're just going to go down here. We're going into the comics now. So, the Terrificsiz is a new series that DC just recently put out. I'm not sure if you'd call it their second wave, but if you see, this one is issue 1, but also it's kind of hard to see because it's actually holographic. This holographic cover is actually, if I am understanding correctly, is an Emerald City Comic Con exclusive. So you can only find this holographic cover at Emerald City Comic Con. Like how I think New York City Comic Con had the Teen Titans holographic cover exclusive there. You know, you have different exclusives. This is one of the Emerald City Comic Con exclusive covers. I don't know if I'm going to open this and read it. I haven't heard, and I haven't done any research on whether or not this is a good series, but you know, you got Mr. Terrific there and Plastic Man and things like that. I've heard this is like DC's version of Fantastic Four because the Fantastic Four comics in Marvel side is like super shit right now. So this is kind of like their answer to that. Like, hey, if you guys are missing Fantastic Four from Marvel side, come check out the Terrificsiz. But this is like a holographic cover, and that's exclusive to Comic-Con. And knowing that I pulled this out means that the next ones I'm going to pull up are the ones that are a little bit more important to me. And it was so important that I bought 2 of them. Alright, so again, just like the exclusive cover for the Terrificsiz, we have the Mira #1 brand new comic focused on Aquaman's wife, the holographic covers that are exclusive to Emerald City Comic Con. I bought 2 of them, one because I think I'm going to frame, the other one because I think I'm going to open up and read it, and if somebody wants it, then, you know, I'll sell it or something like that. I should get my comics graded, but that seems like a lot of effort into finding out what's going on with that. But anyway, if you guys know, I think Mira is probably in my top 3 favorite heroines or female characters in the DC universe. Like, she is so badass. Like, Aquaman, Arthur Curry, is the king of Atlantis, of course. Mira is just the queen of Atlantis. But in terms of, like, pure badassery, she kind of is up there, almost probably above him. Because she's a, wow, what do you call it? She does hydrokinesis, which means that she can control water. Or she's a waterbender. In the world of DC, she's a waterbender. And they don't skimp on Mira's waterbending abilities in DC. Like, she can, like, control the ocean and, like, really create a bubble of water in the ocean. She can stop water. If there's a tidal wave coming, she can stop that tidal wave just by controlling it, you know. Like, she is not in the core, I'm learning waterbending stage. She is in the I've mastered waterbending and I can do whatever I want with it. Like, Mira is a fucking badass. She's in my top 3 heroines. So, knowing that they were making a comic for Mira, especially made me excited, just because I love her so much, and being how badass she is, but also knowing that they had the exclusive holographic cover for Mira #1 coming out at Emerald City Comic Con, I had to buy one, at least one. And then after I bought the first one yesterday, I'm like, fuck man, they had so much, I had to buy 2. So I bought 2 of these again. I'm probably going to open one and read it and keep the other one framed. But yeah, I'm so happy that they had these, because I think Mira is dope. Oh, and I'm going to link this into, I think, the next comics I'm going to buy. If you notice the art here, the artist here is, let me see if I can find the signature. Oh yeah, okay. I'm going to point that right here, right by my middle finger. If you don't know that signature, that is actually, that is Art Germ's signature. Art Germ is an artist that I wouldn't say I fell in love with, but I really grew to like a whole lot after seeing what he did for Dota. He did some really cool, like, an Invoker, an Axe, Earthshaker, and Wind Ranger kind of illustrations for t-shirts and mouse pads and things like that for Dota, and that's where I learned about Art Germ. Like, really cool looking art and very well done. So I learned about him from Dota, but then I read The Great 10 and realized that he did the covers for The Great 10 for DC Comics as well. So History of DC Comics covers for Art Germ as well, and I just really like his style. His style is so good. It's like perfect balance of realism and encapsulating the characters. Like Earthshaker from Dota, you know Earthshaker, he doesn't look like a human, but he just captures the essence of what the characters are about so well, while also putting like a realistic flavor on it. Like, he's just a really good artist. But going off of that, I also bought a few more comics here, which are ones that I don't read, honestly, but I knew I had to once I found out he did these. I bought 3 Supergirl comics, and I don't read Supergirl. I don't read Supergirl. But the reason why I bought these is because Art Germ did the covers for these, the variant covers. And each one of these are like super dope. And I put my favorite one up front, so I'm gonna put like the least favorite one up front and then go to the ones. But look how beautiful these covers are though. Like, just look at it. Like, look, man, that reflection is not doing this any justice. But if you can kind of see what's going on here, like, man, like, oh, that doesn't help because I have like YouTube up, so. Yeah, like, that's some beautiful ass artwork from Art Germ. Like, these variant covers are just amazingly well done. And if he did any other cover, like, for DC recently, any other of the variant covers, I would have bought those ones as well. But he's just been doing Supergirl. And this is my favorite one coming up. This one is amazing. Do you see this? Like, holy shit, man. Like, do you see that art? If I could find that as a print, I totally would have bought it. But that is just an amazing cover. Just like the composition, the little detail going all the way. Sorry, that looks like I'm focusing on her boobs and shit. But like the little detail on the suit, like the little ridges and everything like that. And like, man, it's just, this guy is so good, and I'm looking at this right now. This is amazing. Like, maybe you can see it better from far away, but I'm so glad that they have the variants there, because I've always wanted to buy them, and I'm scared that my comic shops didn't have them, because of course people are going to want to buy those variants, because they're so dope, and they don't carry that much volume of comics in general. But I'm glad that I found those 3. I'm probably going to frame those 3. I don't read Supergirl, so I'm not going to open those up. I'll probably frame those. Again, maybe I should get those graded. I don't know what grading does. Maybe it means in the future I can resell them. But these are purely like my things. Like, I love Art Germ. Like, his covers are like other people's art that they put up. Like, they're like prints, you know, like. So if I could find Art Germ's prints, I totally would have put them on my wall, but he wasn't there. So Stanley Lau, come down to Emerald City Comic Con and get a booth, so I can pay money directly to you. All right, so I think that almost finishes up the comics. I have one more comic here. This is actually Trinity number 7, and the reason being that I have 1 through 6 already, and this is finishing up the arc. Ultimately, when it comes to comics, I realize it's kind of pricey to keep up with the comics, with the monthly polls and everything like that, so I just decided to finish off the collections that I have now. Finish off the arcs that I have now, and I think 7 is the last of the Trinity arc that I have now. I have 1 through 6, so I just needed 7. The other comics that I was looking for were like Red Hood and the Outlaws, Teen Titans, specifically number 2, which they didn't have or I couldn't find. What other ones? See, I don't even remember. But New Superman, like 8 or 9 or something like that, 7 and more. But they didn't have that. And what bugs me is that I've been buying New Superman because I didn't think that they were going to make a trade paperback for it. They made a fucking trade paperback for New Superman. Like, if I knew that they were going to do that for sure, then I wouldn't have bought all these issues. But I did, so I have to continue. And again, New Superman is one of my favorite comics, honestly. It's kind of petered off, it's tapered off in terms of entertainment value. But overall, I guess you can say, like, oh, it's because he's a Chinese superhero and you're Chinese. And I'm like, yeah, it's partly that, but also partly because the writing in that was, like, on the level of Super Sons. Like, Super Sons and New Superman regarding the humor and the banter were, like, up top there, And, like, that's also up there with the story or arc 1 of Green Lanterns, which I bought the trade paperback for that because I love the writing for that as well. But that's all the comics that I bought, and if you don't remember, that's a lot more comics than I've ever bought at Comic-Con, I feel like. I did buy comics at Comic-Con last year, I feel like, but this is the first time where, like, I feel like I came there specifically for, like, a lot of comic things rather than prints. Speaking of prints, though, I did pick up prints. Even though I didn't pick up as many prints as I did before, I still picked up wall art picked up wall art. Picked up some wall art because I have a bigger room now and I have tons of wall space to work with. So we'll just go over which prints I bought here. I'm going to start off with this beautiful Wonder Woman one. These next two are from Nick Robles? Let me find out. Sorry. Yeah, Nick Robles. Talented artist. Very talented. And I've always been meaning to pick up a Wonder Woman one because, Wonder Woman's DC, especially with, like, the reputation that she has now, being the first, I'd say, very successful feature film in movie theaters that starred a heroine rather than a hero, a female superhero. So she has, like, some really strong cultural identity, I suppose you could say. So I did want, like, a print of Wonder Woman, and this one's kind of, like, really cool because she's not, like, striking some weird provocative pose, and she's not, like, in battle. She's kind of just standing there. And it's a really standard one, but I really liked it, and I really liked the art. It's hard to portray Wonder Woman, right? The faces kind of look weird. But this one, like, it was focusing more on everything else, like the armor that she has, rather than just, like, oh, she's pretty, you know what I mean? Like, it's not... The illustration was done in a way that was supposed to, like, focus on Wonder Woman as a whole, it seems like, because you have the backgrounds and, like, it's like a full illustration print rather than, like, yo, let's have her in some weird provocative pose, or let's focus on her face so we can really focus on the fact that she's a girl, Like, it has nothing. It has less of that than other prints, so that's why I really like this one and fucked with this one really hard. So this is Nick Robles, and I'm gonna pull up another one by him here because you guys know I love my Batman. I love the Bat fam. So of course I had to buy one of my boy Dick Grayson, Nightwing, one of the better Nightwings ever I've seen in print form. That logo is kind of interesting. More like a W, I suppose, but it's supposed to be like the little blue like thing that he has there. Young Justice Nightwing is honestly the best portrayal of Nightwing I've ever seen in my life, but this, from fan art form, is probably one of the better ones. A lot of the other ones, they don't draw Dick Grayson, in my opinion, to justice. No offense, I'm not trying to be mean, but in my opinion, you have to get Dick Grayson right. You have to get Dick Grayson right. You can't, like, have him look too slender or, you know, too muscular or something. And the armor has to be good, and the design has to be good. This is one of the best portrayals of Nightwing I've seen in my life, so I had to buy it because I'm a really big Nightwing fan. If I was to be honest, like, if I was to be a hero in general, like, Nightwing would be the hero that I would want to be. You know, he's not Asian or anything like that, but just in, like, who he is as a character and things like that. The fact that he's kind of like Batman, but better and better morals and shit, you know, like that. Like, yeah, like, definitely would choose to be Nightwing. And he's just a really cool guy, you know, and has a dope ass. So, I mean, you can't argue against that, right? Everybody wants that. Right, and not too many prints again, as I mentioned. Ooh, these fun. Very good. I had to hit up my homegirl after I bought this one and told her that I think that she would like this one. This one came in a bigger form. Hard to see at this detail what's going on, but I will tell you what's going on with this one. This is a, like, Ghibli conglomerate poster. Like, there's Totoro there. You see some Princess Mononoke. You see, oh gosh, Howl's Moving Castle there with a little scarecrow dude, you know what I mean? And with a girl, which is apparently this is Pasquale Productions. Apparently, I'm assuming the guy's name is, like, last name is Pasquale or first name is Pasquale, but his girlfriend was running the booth, and she mentioned to me that this whole, like, kind of conglomerate is in the shape of Howl's Moving Castle. So I was like, yo, this is way too good. I like this a whole lot. Got some Spirited Away with No Face up there too. This is an amazing ass piece. Like, I saw the bigger version of this, and I really wanted that version, but I saw this on Saturday, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to fit it anywhere, and, like, I had to take the light rail, so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to buy it at that time. But the bigger version of this was, like, amazing. I was tempted to buy this from my homegirl, because we've been watching the Ghibli movies every month during Ghibli Fest, and I know that she really likes Studio Ghibli, whatever, I don't give a fuck. But, yeah, so this print was, like, when I stepped up to the booth, they had some really cool other things here, like some Fooly Cooly ones too. Some FLCL ones that I was thinking about buying, like one of Conti, with his face, his TV face, with, like, the stripes on it. You know, the TV stripes are, like, I don't know what those are called, but yeah, I had that one too. But this one was just too good. You can't just pass this one up. It has all of the Ghibli films and, like, represents Studio Ghibli, so I definitely had to go with this one. Alright, well, only two more prints that I'm going to share with you guys, because that's all that I bought. But the last two prints that I bought here are actually from a guy that, and company, I guess you could say, that I've literally bought one thing from them every year. And that's Chasing Artwork. Chasing Artwork is, like, really dope style, really unique style. Oh, excuse me. Really unique style, but also just really dope, like, just things in general. So, I'm not the biggest fan of Gundam, but I fucking love Mobile Suit Gundam with, oh wow, I already forgot what their names are, but this is clearly Mobile Suit Gundam, with Hiro Yui, you know. But then we also got the Death Scythe. I bought both of them, two of them, because I had to get two of them side to side, you know. Like, look how the symmetry between those two, and the juxtaposition, that's dope. You have to put those two together, you know what I mean? I couldn't just buy one, because Death Scythe was actually my favorite one, because I was going through one of those emo times, you know, when you're like a preteen, you're like, I like dark shit. So, That style was always really cool, my favorite. But you know, you had to pair it up with the original, with the Mobile Suit Gundam, with Heroes Gundam. Again, this is I don't remember what the guy's name is, but this is Chasing Artwork. Last year I bought a Shadow of the Colossus one. The one before that, the year before that, I bought a Samurai Jack one. Like every year I buy a print from this guy, and every year there's always I want to buy like so many of them, but of course I can't do that. You know what I mean? So, and also every year he comes up with new shit. So that's why I really love this guy, because he has a very unique style that makes everything really dope. So I had to buy these two prints of these two Gundams, and I have the wall space for it, as I mentioned, and I have 4 of his works now, so I can put those like in a series, I guess, along my wall. But yeah, guys, that's actually everything that I bought at Comic-Con. As you can tell, a whole lot less prints. I buy prints like up the shiznit usually every year, but this time, you know, not so much. But that's okay. I was able to buy comics, which I'm way more into comics now, if you guys didn't know. And kind of round out my collections and get my favorites, as mentioned. Comic-Con overall, man, just an exhausting time. So it's good to, you know, finish everything off, have everything that I bought in my room rather than carry it around me during walking around with my feet hurting. But yeah, another year of Comic-Con over, Emerald City Comic-Con specifically, 2018. Hope to see you all there again next year, especially all the artists. Letting y'all know you have some dope stuff. Best believe I'm gonna buy it. And if you don't believe me, I just showed off that I do spend my money on material things. So make more dope stuff. Some requests just in the future. A little bit more Red Hood, that would be dope. A little bit more to Flash things. Oh, Boku no Hero Academia, please guys. I was expecting a lot more of that stuff this year, since that's such a big anime. I know it's Comic-Con and not Sakura-Con, but at the same time there was a lot of anime stuff there, and I know that this is like a geek kind of convention in general. A lot more My Hero Academy stuff, and I would have bought all that stuff. Alright y'all, well thanks for watching. That's all I pulled from Comic-Con this year. Spent a lot of money. I'll see you all next year. Buy more stuff and spend more money. Peace.